We are a little over 48 hours away from it being put up or shut up time for the Miami Dolphins. Listen, this is the biggest game of the Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa era to this point. Obviously, playoff games with playoff implications are going to be bigger. But again, until this point, I mean, we have a chance now, like I've said, first 12-win season since 1990. All right? First shot at a 2 seed since 92, and first shot at an AFC East title since 2008. Doesn't get any bigger than this. Let's preview the Dolphins and Bills game. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Let's get into it, baby. You better be ready. Check your pulse.
Loses the football. Touchdown! Got it! You have got to be kidding me. Jalen Waddle has a Dolphin touchdown. And he will score! Field down the near side, man open. Touchdown! The run from Tua Tagovailoa. Touchdown! He's going deep. He's got it for the touchdown again.
Beautiful day to be a Dolphin fan. Let's go! What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We're back here for another one, as it is almost time. Bills, Dolphins, like I said, we're just a little over. Actually, we're almost dead smack on to being about 51 hours away from kickoff. The anticipation is real. The Miami Dolphins, they got a chance to do it all, but I want to shout out everyone that's come through, already showing love out in the chat. I want to shout out each and every one of y'all. You amazing, beautiful, beautiful people. All right. So, shout out to each and every one of you. Let's start it off. Elias, Carey Price, Timothy Washington, Zonka up here showing what's good. How you doing, Zonka? First name Larry. Robert Thomason, how you doing, sir? Who else we got here? Kurok. Not Turok. We got Kurok. Love it. How you doing, sir? Darth Sadik. He's out here. Who else we got here? I'm catching up because y'all were talking before I went live. Chef Jew. South Flow. Don, what's good, bro? Nate. How are you doing, Nate? Aladino, how are you doing? Pro Special, Mario Gonzalez, Denisha, Villain. I don't know. Well, I hope you aren't a villain. I hope you're a good guy. Angel, No Name Fins, Franklin, and Son, Real Special K. I hope you're talking about the cereal kid. What up, Austin? Austin in the house. New attitude. Appreciate each and every one of you for coming through. Guys, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. There's already over 100 of you in the room. Do me the favor, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new. I appreciate all of you for coming through, man. I gotta start off here. I gotta give a shout out. You know I support those, Alf and the 3 yards per carry guys. I've been supporting them for a minute. One of the few podcasts I'll actually come up here and plug because you know what I'm about. Listen, I think if you're not going to learn anything, it ain't worth your time. That's how that's how I approach Dolphins content. If someone can't teach me anything, if I can't learn anything from watching you, I'm not going to watch you. You're not worth my time. I'm married. I have kids. I have a real life. You know what I mean? And I do this channel. I'm a content creator. So my time is valuable. If I don't learn anything from you, I'm not going to watch you. I'm not going to listen to your audio podcast. I'm not going to follow you on Twitter. You know what I mean? That's just how I've been since, and, EM's the same way too. That's just always how we've been since we entered this community. And by the way, shout out to EM. Guys, remember, immediately following, win, loss, draw, don't matter. Dolphins After Dark post-game show. You're not going to want to miss it on Sunday. Putting the unity in community, baby. So you're going to want to watch that one. But anyways, I digress. Listen, shout out to Chris Kaufman. And because, listen, we've talked about the injuries. And I try to tell people the injuries are not an excuse. They're context. We're warning you guys. If they don't live up to your expectations, that injuries are going to be a big reason why. And I've said this. If you could look at the list of injuries, if you could give me Chubb, X, Waddle, and Connor Williams back, not even Robert Hunt, right? Not even Chubb, but give me Phillips instead, or Phillips or Chubb, don't matter. But, I don't need both. If you gave me just 4 of those players, I would still have Super Bowl expectations. I'm going to be completely 100% honest with you. I think I've said this live before, I'm pretty sure. I think injuries have turned us into more of an AFC Championship game contender more than a Super Bowl contender. Now, you get to the AFC Championship, anything can happen. But if we get to the AFC Championship, I will be, with what's gone down injury-wise, I'll be through them. I'll be happier than a pig, and you know what? But listen, I digress. Let's talk about the offensive line, all right? There's been a lot of talk about the offensive line, and there's some great work done by Chris Kaufman here of 3 yards per carry. Shout out to Al. Shout out to Simon. All right, so I want you to check this out. Check this out. I'm going to rifle some numbers at you guys, and I want you to think about this. All right? Think about this for a second. Okay, so in 2023, the Dolphins offense, when we've had 4 starters on the offensive line, we've had about 282 plays with 4 starters, okay? We're averaging about 8.3 yards per play, a 40.4% first down rate, and EPA, right, expected points added, it's about 0.49 points per play, right? Or it's actually, it's not even EPA, it's points per play. We're averaging about 0.49 points per play, all right? 3 O-line starters. We've played 302 snaps with 3 O-line starters. Check this out. We go from 8.3 yards per play down to 5.6 yards per play. Our first down rate goes from 40.4% down to 30.5%. And our points per play go down from 49 to 30, from 0.49 points per play to 0.32 points per play. Right? You lose almost a full 3 yards per play. You lose 10% on your first down rate. And you lose 0.17 points per play just when we go from 4 to 3. Now check this one out. When we only have 2 offensive line starters, so where we've been the last couple of games with only Jackson and only Armstead, because Lee Meichenberg's not a starter, right? Check this out. 4.6 yards per play, a 23.3 first down rate, and 0.21 points per play. Wow. Just a reminder, when we have 4, not all 5, 4, we're averaging 8.3 yards per play, a 40.4 first down percentage on first down rate, and a 0.49 points per play. Your yards are cut from 8.3 down to 4.6. Your first down rate is cut from 40.4 down to 23.3. Your points per play is cut down from 0.49 per play to 0.21 points per play. My God. And that's what we've been dealing with. But people try to say, and you're going to see the injury list. Wait till you see the injury report. I want you to see the injury report when it comes up. If you just want to hear my rant, you're going to leave after, that's fine. Watch the injury report. Stick around for the injury report. That is crazy. That is nuts. Now, on the flip side, even further, Chris Kaufman went even deeper into it. See, this is the stuff I like, man. This is the stuff that's worth your follow on Twitter or listening to the boys on Spotify or whatever you listen to. Okay, so check this out. backups account for 47% of Miami's offensive line snaps. All right? Winning teams this year, like teams with winning records, they're averaging about 16%. We're averaging 47% of our O-line snaps backups are counting for. Winning teams right now are averaging about 16%. No other team more than 27%. We're 20% higher in terms of snaps allocated to backups than the number 2 team. And check this one out. The Bills this weekend. The Bills have only had 4% of their offensive line snaps this season taken by backups. We've had 47%. It's going to be over 50% once this game's done. Only going to get higher. Only going to get higher. And check this one out. This is really good. You want to hear something cool? All right. Well, hold on. Let's get into that. Okay. So against the Bills, all right? Here's our losses. Against the Bills the first time, 33% of our line, of our snaps were taken up by backup offensive linemen. Against the Eagles, 58%. Against the Chiefs, 40%. Against the Titans, 78%. And against the Ravens, 63%. Those are the percentage of snaps in those games taken up by backup offensive linemen. But it gets even better. I'm going to give you a chance in the chat. I'm gonna give you a chance in the chat right now. I want you guys to name, because there's only been one game this year. There's only been one game this year where we had every single starter on our offensive line. And then I'm gonna give you the chat. Guess the game it was. The one game where we had all of our starters. Guess the game. Go ahead, guess the game. I see it's starting to come in. Yep. Denver. Everyone guessing the Broncos right now? You are 110% right. The game that the Miami Dolphins put up 70 points is the one game we had every single starter on the offensive line. The one game we had all of our starters, we were historical offensively. So don't sit here and tell me injuries don't matter, because they do. 110%. That's the reality of the situation. So don't tell me injuries don't matter. Who missed the Chargers game? I believe Armstead was out of the Chargers game. If I'm Kendall Lamb started that, I'm pretty sure. I'm just saying. The one game we had all of our starters, we scored 70 points. Against a Broncos team who ended up actually looking decent by the end of the season. I won't say good. I'll use the word decent. So don't tell me injuries don't matter. Like I've said, it's not an excuse. It's the context of the situation. My least favorite word in this community is excuse. People try to label. See, when people try to provide context for situations, people who have narratives that the context of situations contradict automatically label them as excuses. It's a cop-out. It's a cop-out. And it's just a further understanding for you, the watcher, you, the viewer, you, the listener, that these people have no understanding of the game if they think they don't matter. Because when it's all high quality, when it's all guys having either their best year or on Pro Bowl trajectories, I mean, when we had 9 starters out, 6 of them were either having their best season of their career or on a Pro Bowl trajectory. One of them, you could say, was starting to find his Pro Bowl form in Waddle before he got hurt. That matters. That matters a lot. Not a lot of teams can overcome that. Like I just said, like Chris Kaufman posted, 47% of Miami's offensive line snaps have gone to backups. Winning teams are averaging 16%. The Bills, only 4% of their offensive line snaps have gone to backups this year. Yes, it matters. It matters a lot. It matters a lot. But it's all Tua's fault. Tua's the one to blame. He went off and Nancy Kerrigan all the guys on the offensive line. It's his fault. Delusions of grandeur. All right, let's get into the weather report. And here we go. All right, here we go. So let's get into the weather report. We got a lot to talk about here. So here is the weather report. Now, again, they're showing lightning and rain and blah, 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 blah. But the precipitation probability is 1%. If you actually read it, it's showing, it says chances of thunderstorm, but it's at 1%. Cloud cover is 84%. The precipitation gets down to 0% by quarter four. All right, so don't let the chances of showers and thunderstorms, then mostly cloudy, worry you. It says there's a chance of showers and thunderstorms before 7 p.m. Mostly cloudy with a low around 64. Northeast wind around 12 miles per hour. Chance of precipitation is 30%. And then you got the precipitation probability down here gets down to like 1% by game time. Now the gusts of wind are going to get up to 17 miles per hour. So the gusts can get up there. It's going to be around a cool Mario Lemieux, 66 degrees Fahrenheit for the whole time. So that's not bad. Now, if it's damp, that's going to suck. Right? If it's damp, that's not going to be fun. But that's still, that's almost 19 degrees Celsius, right? So, I mean, that's still kind of pretty warm. So, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never spun it early that we had an advantage with our rotating offensive line. We've never had an advantage with the offensive line, especially at center. We've been at a disadvantage. Butch Berry's had, 12 or 13 different line combinations? That's not an advantage by any stretch of the imagination. I've never spun it that that's an advantage, ever. These other people try to just say, injuries don't matter when, clearly they do. Let's not lie to ourselves. But let's get into the injury report. This is what I told you guys. You guys need to watch. Keep an eye on this one. Look this is the difference in injuries. And listen, a lot of guys are full participants and good to go, but this is how, look at the treatment. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. That is not pretty. Oh my God. They got 7 guys on their report do the Buffalo Bills. The Miami Dolphins have 19, I think? Look at this. This is a list and a half. Holy jeez. Now, guys are getting full full participants today, but limited all week and getting treatment basically, right? If you get any kind of treatment, you got to go on. You got to go on the list, man. And look at holy jeez, that's so funny. That's just hilarious to me. Look at the difference in just treatment. Let's not even talk about the guys who are questionable or out. The 5 who are questionable or out. Look at the treatment. Like, we got like double the amount of guys getting treatment on injuries than the Buffalo Bills have, just on their whole list. Oh my God, that's hilarious. you know? And then when you read deep into this, I mean, like, look at Liam Eichenberg. Yeah, he's a full participant, but we all saw Liam Eichenberg last week. Liam Eichenberg went down, and we all thought he popped his Achilles, right? Liam Eichenberg's calf is one bad turn away from peace. Like, you know, we know how compromised some of these guys actually are, right? So, like, we know Tyreek did not practice yesterday, but that was because of his because of the fire. People are trying to make a big deal out of that. But I mean, look at Teron Armstead. You know, he's full practice, but he got 3 injuries. Oh, Devon Achane, he's full to go, but he's in a walking boot. Right? He's got turf toe. He's in a walking boot right now. So, but he takes the walking boot off and he goes to work on Sunday. So, but my whole point is, like, these aren't like even like little nicks. Guys are in walking boots. Guys are on crutches during the week and then just lacing them up on Sunday and going. Holy jeez. It's unbelievable. It's not even like little nicks. Like, we're not even just wrapping ankles here. And then you got guys like Achane and Waddle been battling injuries all year. And you got Armstead battling injuries all year. You know, Lester Cotton and Robert Jones battling injuries. Anyways, Elias says vitamin T for everyone. Oh, my Lord. Darth Sadik says Dolphins need more vitamins. Holy. Now, speaking of Waddle, I want to just show you guys this. Check this out. This is from today. This is Waddle. There's Waddle putting the work in today. So, you know, I don't like, he's running, he's putting in the work, no setbacks. Now, you know, I've been told, I'll go back here, another shot of it for you there. Okay, now, going back to the injury report here. Okay, so here's the deal. I've heard Jerome Baker's probably going to be good to go. Now, Waddle sounds like it's a game time decision at best. I was told there's a higher probability right now that Baker goes than Waddle. Robert Hunt is back. All right. And I'm trying to get some news on Mostert. I have not heard anything on Mostert. I haven't heard a word on Raheem the Dream. And, you know, I know people, I know the rumor is he's going to be out, but I have not been told anything specifically. But I've been told expect Baker and Waddle's a game time decision. But I was told if the game was today, he would have been out. So, you know, it doesn't sound overly optimistic for Waddle. It sounds more like Jerome Baker's going to be out there. So, yeah. Now, another thing, too, is, you know, X is out, and I said this yesterday. I also had a Patreon video about it. Patreon.com/Phinside The NFL for that 3 takes video. Talked about a couple things in there, Fangio and X as well. And the basic indication I've been given is that if this defense, you know, doesn't look good this week, if they look anemic, expect X to go in the wild card in the first week, in the first round. Now, if our defense looks good, if we do our thing, because I've heard the ideal, like if everything went perfect and they knew they'd get there, I've heard the ideal scenario is a divisional game for X to potentially come back if we get there. But I've also heard, I've heard some rumblings that they're trying to squeeze the last juice drops out of the orange. So, you know, I don't know. We'll see with X. X, you're not seeing to the playoffs, that's for sure. But I don't know. We'll see. Jay, they tried to let Brooks run the ball last week. And how'd that toss go? The very next play, Chubb got hurt. You know? So, Rick, yeah, if he can't go, if Mostert doesn't go, then yeah, you're going to see Achane and Wilson similar to what you saw last week, and then Brooks. But I think Achan's workload will get ramped up. I don't want to say they're protecting him, but I don't think they let the leash off because of the turf toe. With everything on the line this week, I expect them to let the leash off and just let that boy cook. So, let's see, man. All right, how these two teams compare. Dolphins, they have the number one total offense, the number one passing offense. The Bills, they have the number 5 total offense and the number 10 passing offense. Rushing, though, the Dolphins still sitting around 5, though the last couple of games, I wouldn't call them the top 5 rushing offense the last couple of games. The Bills, they're at 7. Scoring offense, you got the number 1 against the number 6, 30.1 points per game for the Dolphins, about 26.9 for the Bills. You got 2 of the top 5 teams in terms of sacks allowed from the offensive line. All right? So, I mean, 30 sacks allowed by the Dolphins. Only 21 sacks allowed by the Bills. Justin Vanderberg says that was only 7 years old for the 2008 AFC East Championship for the Miami Dolphins. Excited for this. Man, so am I, bro. So am I. I remember that season, actually. It's been a long time. Jeez. I was in my 20s, man, for that season. So I was 23 for that season. I remember it too. Oh boy, do we all remember that season. The Wildcat, baby. The Wildcat. All right, getting back here to the sacks. So you got 2 of the top 5 teams in sacks allowed. I mean, you look at they've only allowed like 168 pressures as an offensive line. All right, just for comparison, the Dolphins have allowed 121. More are getting converted to sacks. Against the Dolphins have a higher, pressure to sack percentage than the Buffalo Bills, and that's obviously because of Josh Allen's athleticism, right? Now, third down offense, you got the number 1 in the league, the Bills, on 49%. They're converting at a almost half of their third downs they've converted this season. The Dolphins, they're 9th. They're only converting about 42.2%. Now, look at the battle of the defense. 2 top 10 defenses. Bills are 10th in total defense. Dolphins, they're 9th. Bills, they rank the number 7 pass defense. Dolphins, they have the number 12. Rushing defense, the Bills, they're 15th against the run, while the Dolphins are 7th against the run. Scoring-wise, though, this is where it gets pretty big here. Bills are the 4th best. They're only allowing about 18.6 per game. Dolphins, they're 21st. They're allowing 23.1 points per game. Sacks, both have 53. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Now, as units, though, the Miami Dolphins defense, they have about 348 pressures on the season. All right. The Bills, they have 341. So there's only a 7 pressure difference. 348 for Miami, 341 for the Bills. And they're tied at sacks. So that's pretty close. That is pretty close. Now, Dolphins, they're only allowing teams to convert about 37.3% of their third downs, which is 11th best. Bills, they're allowing teams to convert about 38.5%, which is 18th best. Takeaways. Bills, they're 2nd in takeaways. They have 28. The Dolphins, they're 12th. They have 24. And then the Bills, they have 25 giveaways. That's 23rd. The Dolphins, they have 23. So they have 2 less giveaways. So, we know the story about Josh Allen. The turnovers will come. Right? Think about this one. The Bills' offense has more giveaways and turnovers than they do sacks allowed. They've allowed 21 sacks, but they've turned over the ball 25 times. Think about that for a second. So, they are turnover prone. That's just what they are. We're injury prone. They're turnover prone. That's just the fact of the situation. So let's get into my keys to victory for the Miami Dolphins heading into this week. As usual, we will start with the offensive keys as we usually do. And let's get into them. So you're going to have to protect the pigskin at all costs. Listen, you had been clean all December. You had not had an interception all December. Then you give up 2 to the Ravens. We cannot have turnovers. We cannot have turnovers. You got to protect that pigskin at all costs. You cannot give extra drives, especially on that start on your side of the football field, to the enemy. You just can't. So you're going to have to protect the pigskin at all costs. Number 2 to me is make Devin Achane and Tyreek Hill the feature presentation. They are your 2 most explosive players right now. Even if Waddle comes back, he's not going to be as explosive as Achane looks right now. Achane might be your most explosive player on the team right now. You got to complement the run with the pass in this game. Feature Tyreek, feature Achane. Get Achane out there and throw him the football too. But I like what Martin said earlier this week. I love what he said. Game plan around Devin Achane. And I'll throw it in there. Expose the seams, baby. Expose the seams. Make Devin Achane and Tyreek the feature presentation. Expose the seams a little bit, but Devin Achane needs to be let loose this week. Hit him with it. They haven't seen him. They haven't seen Achane let loose yet. So let him loose. He only had 8 carries for 101 yards and 2 touchdowns that first time. You didn't let him loose. You gave him 8 carries. Let him loose. Give him 20. We could see a 200-yard game and 4 touchdowns from this guy. Let him loose, baby. Let him loose. He ripped them apart the first time around, and they only saw 8 carries. They didn't even get an appetizer, let alone a full course meal of Devin Achane. Didn't even get a full course meal. Didn't even get an appetizer. They got 8 carries, and then he had 5 targets. Let him loose, baby. Give this man, I want to see this man with 20-plus touches. Let it loose. It's time. And then number 3 here, it's pretty easy. Offensive line needs to be at its best, and Liam has to be much better than he was in week 4. We all remember that. Right? We all remember that game. It was not pretty in terms of Liam Eichenberg. As a whole, the offensive line, they allowed 13 pressures, but Liam Eichenberg, he allowed 5 of those. 2 sacks, 1 hit, and a QB hurry. Liam Eichenberg needs to be much, much better than he was in week 4. Keep that. We need that pressure number to be down around 4, 5, 6. Get the ball out quick. And when Tua does have to get to a second and third read, give him the interior of the pocket to move up and maneuver through. And give him the time to make his reads and throws. Jesus Lord. So, protect the pigskin at all costs. Make Devin Achane and Tyreek Hill the feature presentation. And the offensive line, especially Eichenberg, needs to be better than they were in week 4. This is a fact. I don't know what else to say. Now, continuing on here, let's get into my defensive keys of the game for the Miami Dolphins. And you can't let Josh Allen go Super Saiyan. I've been saying this all week. You cannot let Josh Allen go Super Saiyan. I really don't know what else to say with that. The fact of the matter is this. He finds another level, and so does Diggs. He finds another level against us. Like, he literally puts up video game numbers, and I'm not even, just saying that. Josh Allen is 9-2 against the Dolphins, has 3,004 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 571 rushing yards, and 5 touchdowns on the ground. You cannot let him go Super Saiyan. You just can't. I just don't know what else to say. You need... When we played them last September, okay? We won 21-19. He still put up 400 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air, and he still threw for 47 yards. Still ran for 47 yards. You got to find a way. We can't let him walk in and put up 400 against us. I'm sorry. You just can't. Number 2, don't let James cook like the Ravens run game did. See what I did there? Don't let James cook like the Ravens run game did. I mean, let's be honest here. Last week, we got absolutely handled by the run game. Whether they wanted to attack us in the pass game with their running backs, whatever they wanted to do, it didn't matter. All right? Whatever they wanted to do out of the backfield, they could do to us at will, basically. They had 160 rushing yards on 32 attempts against us. And 2 touchdowns on the ground. Lamar Jackson only had 35 of those yards. But Justice Hill also had 5 receptions for 64 yards. Patrick Ricard made a touchdown, Justice Hill. Patrick Ricard made a one-handed touchdown for catch for a touchdown for 4 yards. Bro, they got 2 receiving touchdowns and 68 yards out of their backfield. Then receiving. Then they got another, let's take away Lamar and Tyler Huntley from there. They got another 26 yards and 2 touchdowns from Melvin Gordon and Gus Edwards and Justice Hill. You can't let James Cook come in here. We saw how they've been leaning on him the last couple games. You can't let him come in here and cook. You just can't. And then number 3, you're gonna have to shadow Diggs with Ramsey, but you're gonna have to be sure to account for Gabe Davis and Dalton Kincaid. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter right now. Gabe Davis has 746 yards. Kincaid has 589. Gabe Davis has 7 touchdowns, only 1 less than Stephon Diggs. Kincaid has 2. But 2 weeks ago against the Chargers, Gabe Davis put up 130 yards and a touchdown on 4 receptions and 6 targets. Against Philly in November, 12 targets, 6 receptions, 105 yards, and a touchdown. This kid can pop up. Jacksonville had 100 yards. Vegas had 92. This kid can pop up and go off. And we've seen what Isaiah McKenzie has done to us in the past. Kohu, Needham, Eli Apple, whoever with safety that's up in the box, whoever is covering him needs to be, responsible and on point. Same thing with that, with Dalton Kincaid. Right? The second level, it needs to be really, and the secondary as well, but the second level is going to have to be real responsible with Dalton Kincaid. I mean, his last 2 games, the fact of the matter is this, he had 87 yards against New England. Now, he even slowed down the past couple of weeks before that, but had 81 yards against Cincy, had 75 against New England to start the year, had 65 against Tampa. He can have games. And if you're taking away Diggs and Gabe Davis, that's where he's going. So, can't let Josh Allen go Super Saiyan. You can't let James cook like the Ravens run game did. And shadow Diggs with Ramsey, but be sure to account for Gabe Davis and Dalton Kincaid. Ramsey, I'm feeling a pick, baby. I'm feeling a pick. You owe us. You've been playing good ball, but with the turnovers have all of a sudden, stopped. I could have gone Josh Allen versus Tua. Hell, I could have gone Gabe Davis and Kincaid against our secondary and second level. Matchup to watch is easy. It's McDaniel and Fangio against McDermott and Joe Brady. That's where we are right now. It goes back to the Titans game. Remember, I had Vrabel versus McDaniel because I said we're more talented. You know what I mean? We're just the better team, but it's going to come down to if Vrabel has a better game plan and what happened. So now I'm going to say it here. Fangio, you got to have the answers for Joe Brady's offense. And Mike McDaniel, you better be ready to adjust and counter everything Sean McDermott's defense is going to throw at you. Can't afford to get out-coached on this stage, Mikey boy. Vic can't afford to be stubborn on this stage. You're going to have to be able to adjust and adapt, both of you. And then on the same thing, if we get out ahead, are you going to be able to counter McDermott and Joe Brady if they adapt? So this is my matchup to watch when I sit back and I think about this game. Big game, man. Big game. And a big coaching matchup. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Well, let's want to bring this up for you guys. Hadn't brought this up right now. Where quarterback efficiency sits throughout the league. You know, I talk about with Tua, you'd have to replace the 65% win percentage. He's going to flirt with over 4,700 yards or around 4,700 yards after this game is done. You'd have to replace that. All things that are not easily replaceable. In his first healthy season, first full season, we are down to the last week competing for the first 12-win season since 1990, the first 2 seeds since 1992, and the first AFC East Championship since 2008. And right now, Tua Tagovailoa, as you can see here, there are only 3 quarterbacks with higher EPA per play than him, and there are only 2 quarterbacks that have a higher completion percentage above expected. Tua Tagovailoa remains one of the top 3 most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL. So they can tell you what they want to tell you. All right? And we need that efficiency on, his last 3 games. Tua Tagovailoa, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, 106.9 passer rating against the Bills. We are going to need that efficiency. I mean, we're dealing with it. You know what you'd have to replace? I want people to realize what they'd have to replace. All these people that want to move off Tua. Okay, Marino. Let's talk about Marino for a sec. Marino, over his first 50 career starts, had a 60.4 completion percentage, had 116 touchdowns to 58 interceptions, had a 94.2 passer rating, and had 1,716 pass attempts. Tua Tagovailoa, over his first 50 starts, a 67 completion percentage, an 80 to 35 touchdown to interception ratio, a 97.6 passer rating, and 1,596 attempts. So less attempts. About 120 less attempts. Yeah. Dan has 36 more touchdowns, but he has 23 more interceptions. See, this is why I tell all of you guys, these people who are watching Tua and losing their mind with Tua, they clearly never watched Marino. Marino and his turnovers were a real thing. A real thing. Go look at the 90. Go look at how many games where he'd throw 2 or 3 picks and we'd have to overcome it. Just saying. But look at Tua continues to be one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL. There's just no single solitary doubt about it. That's just what it is. Love it. Now, continuing on here, I got this article from Barry I wanted to read to you guys. So, the Dolphins, they listed Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert, and Jerome Baker as questionable for Sunday's game against Buffalo. All 3 were limited participants during Friday's practice. Mostert and Waddle are dealing with ankle injuries that sidelined them against Baltimore. Mostert also has a knee issue. Baker has missed the past 4 games with a sprained MCL, but is eligible to come off injured reserve. Mike McDaniel said before Friday's practice that he's optimistic Baker will be available for Sunday's game. Xavier Howard and Bradley Chubb are out Sunday, obviously. No other Dolphins player on the 53 roster has an injury designation. Waddle ran routes on Friday, among other things, after sitting out Wednesday and Thursday. Asked if there's a realistic chance he will play Sunday, Waddle said, yeah, there's always a chance. Got out there, got to move around, having to move around the last couple of days. There's always a chance of going out and competing. So is it a good chance or small chance? He said, there's a chance. Can he cut on the ankle? Yeah. Is there much pain in the ankle? No, I'm good, he said. He was asked about the difficult decision made in conjunction with team medical staff and coaches about giving the injury another week to heal for the playoff opener or playing in the most important game of the regular season on Sunday. Waddle didn't want to explore that issue in detail. He just said one day at a time. We got daily evaluations, honestly. Waddle said returning to practice felt good. It's always good to get back out there and catch up with the guys on the field. That's where we have our deepest conversations, ironically. Hadn't been out there all week. Got to run a little bit yesterday. Got out there and ran some routes and be with the guys. Mostert was not available to everyone Friday. So, again, Mostert doesn't look like he's going. I wouldn't close the door because they haven't, McDaniel said, of the potential availability of Mostert and Waddle on Sunday. Baker isn't eligible to speak to reporters until he comes off injured reserve, but McDaniel said he has had a good week of limited practice participation. Robert Hunt will return on Sunday after missing 4 games in a row and most of 7 games overall with a hamstring injury. Tyreek Hill will also play Sunday. He returned to practice on Friday after missing games practice to deal with the impact of the fire at his house on Wednesday. Josh Allen, who has been dealing with neck injury, said he will play, obviously. The Dolphins would win the AFC East and the number 2 seed if they win or tie on Sunday. Miami would be the 6th seed and open the playoffs in Kansas City if they lose to Buffalo. Barry asked cornerback Jalen Ramsey, without giving away the game plan, if he has talked to defensive coordinator Fangio about getting himself more involved in Sunday's game if the Bills try to avoid him all night. He said, that's a question for Vic. Is it his hope to be involved a lot? He said, yep, that's always my hope, but I'm going to do whatever the team needs me to do regardless of that role at this point of the season. Ramsey has traveled with or shadowed only one receiver all year, Jets receiver Garrett Wilson, in a 30-0 win. Fangio said that he had Ramsey shadow Wilson in that game because Howard was out. With Howard out again Sunday, it remains to be seen whether Fangio will have Ramsey shadow Stephon Diggs, whose receptions and targets have dropped recently. Gabe Davis is also dangerous. Waddle on Sunday's game said it's a division opponent. They've owned the division since I've been in the league. Haven't really found success against them. It's going to be a big game, primetime game. They're a good team. We're a good team. Primetime for all the marbles. Waddle on Tua Tagovailoa being named to the Pro Bowl team this week means a lot. Well deserved. He's been playing great. It's crazy since I've been in the league how far he's come. I always knew what he's capable of. It's good to see your brother go out and shine and let the whole world know he's one of our top tier quarterbacks in the league. Waddle was wearing a Michigan Wolverines shirt in the locker room on Friday, a result of losing a bet to Dolphins president and Michigan alum Tom Garfinkel. Michigan bet Alabama in the National College Football Playoff semifinal on Monday. Tom G got me sadly. It was a good game. Liam Eichenberg's first career game at center October 1st against the Bills. It was rough. He feels better equipped to deal with the job now after playing 7 games at center since then. I was in an interesting position in my first game, Eichenberg said. Gave up 2 sacks that day to Buffalo per PFF. Obviously, I've had a couple more games now throughout the season. I think playing them before, you kind of have a better understanding. I've played them at guard, played them at tackle. The first game with Buffalo was at center, and it was just new. For me, it's now having a better understanding of the personnel they have. Having Hunt next to him, he will be good. He's a guy that has experience. He played at such a high level. It's exciting to have him back. One priority for Eichenberg Sunday, we need to be efficient, getting to the line, getting to the ball, IDing everything. The longer I take is going to hurt us more. I need to get to the line quickly and get set and everybody get on the same page. Communication needs to be on point. That's the biggest thing when you play great teams. It comes down to details. And that's something I pointed out, right? I've pointed out, you've noticed the sack numbers go up since Eichenberg has come in. And it's not just as simply as whiffing on blocks. You've seen a lot more free rushers because the communication's not as solid, right? You got a guy like Connor Williams who's just got more experience playing in the NFL, who made the transition easier. And one of his strengths that we've heard is his ability to communicate. You don't have that with Eichenberg. You just don't. So, it is what it is. You know? Eichenberg just needs, I was in my keys to victory. Eichenberg needs to play better than he did in week 4. There's just really no other way around it. And then, we try to go over them every week. Here are the offensive line composite score rankings for pass protection, and we'll get into run blocking. Look at the Dolphins. Guys, if you watch me every week, every preview show, and you watch when I bring these up, 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, we were top 3. Look at this. We were top 3. We've fallen to 10. We've fallen 7 spots in the last 5 weeks. Look at look at that 16. Look at that 16. Look at us and that 16. 6,916. All right? Guys. That's a pass block win rate. That's terrible. That's the second worst in the NFL, only to New England. We have the second worst pass block win rate in the NFL, 16%. Not good. Not good. At all. And then, we've been flirting with 20 to 15 as a run blocking team, and we remain around 15 as a run blocking team. Still middle of the pack. Brutal. So, listen, the run block, we said be top 15. Said pass block be top, got to get to top 20. The problem is, if you've been following me weekly and following these things every week, you've seen pass pro were slipping on the we were in the top 3. We flirted with number 2 for even a week. Now we've fallen to 10. Man, ugly. Anyways, so guys, it's no secret. I've basically told everyone all week what I think the score is going to be. I picked 23-21 Miami Dolphins, Jason Sanders field goal in the last seconds when the Dolphins are down 21-20 through the uprights, and it's good. I've been pretty clear and pretty open with how I think this game's going to go. Listen, I know these are 2 of the top teams in terms of scoring offense. I just don't, if we're going off scoring offenses, then the Dolphins would win, right? They would win 30-27 basically, right? Because the Dolphins average 30.1 points per game. The Bills average about 26.9. Now, you look at the Dolphins, they don't average 30 points a game against these top-tier teams. I think Fangio's defense is going to rebound, but I also think because it's a rivalry game, we're not going to get blown out for the second time in a row, let alone the second time this season by the Bills. We haven't lost 2 in a row all year. I think the Dolphins win this game. I really do. But I think it's going to be tight either way. I don't see either team. I will be shocked if this is a game that goes into its 30s. And it's time to put up or shut up. See Harbaugh being talked about. Guys, I was told yesterday, Harbaugh from Michigan, you can basically, it's a wrap. You can basically, I've heard the Chargers. I've heard, told you could bet your house he's going to be the coach of the Chargers. So we'll see more rumors and I'll hear more things that go on. It's early, right? Harbaugh just switched agents. But listen, I've said it all year. The theme's been TCB, take care of business. Have those words ever rang truer than what they do for this weekend? No. Take care of your business. You're in your house. Yes, you're undermanned, but use the advantages to your advantage. It's time to put up or shut up. Period. Smash the like button. Subscribe if you are new. I'm going to be live on Sunday, live reacting to the game. Then you know what time it is. After that, Dolphins After Dark. Me and a nice cast of characters are going to be up here, and we're going to be discussing the post game, win or lose or draw, because we'll be getting ready for the playoffs. So you're not going to want to miss Dolphins After Dark immediately following the live reaction to the Baltimore Ravens Miami Dolphins game. So be on the lookout for that. Smash the like button on the way out. Appreciate all of you. I will see each and every one of you back here on Sunday night. You already know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. Check your pulse. Let's get this dub.